The rain fell heavily the night Sharon's mother was buried. Thunder cracked above the small village as mourners huddled under umbrellas, their mamas drowned by the howling wind. 17-year-old Sharon stood beside the grave, soaked, her face blank. Grief had numbed her completely. Her father, Donald, stood on the other side, stoic, unreadable. Sharon wanted to scream, to crumble to the earth and beg her mother to wake up, but her tears had long dried. Weeks passed, and silence settled over the house like a thick fog. Sharon wandered aimlessly from room to room, each corner echoing memories of her late mother. The kitchen, once warm with the scent of ogbono soup and laughter, now stood cold and untouched. Until she came. Dorothy arrived in a blur of bright ankara skirts and painted smiles. A widow from a nearby town, she and Donald had known each other long ago, or so he claimed. Within a month, she moved in, bringing with her a suitcase full of clothes and an unsettling sense of urgency. "Don't worry, Sharon," her father said one evening, avoiding her eyes. "She will help bring peace back to this home." Peace? Sharon wondered. Peace wasn't the word she'd use. Dorothy was too kind. Too watchful. Her voice, sweet like syrup, never raised it even when Sharon deliberately ignored her greetings. But there was something else, something beneath her calm face that made Sharon's skin crawl. The first time Sharon noticed it, it was past midnight. She'd woken from a strange dream and heard soft movement downstairs. Curious, she tiptoed to the stairs and peeked through the banister. Dorothy was in the kitchen, humming a haunting tune as she stirred something in a large clay pot. The next morning, Sharon mentioned it to her father. She was cooking that late. "Maybe she couldn't sleep," Donald replied, brushing his teeth. "Let her be, Sharon. She's your elder now." But the pattern repeated. Every night, the same tune. The same pot. Sharon started keeping track. Dorothy never cooked during the day. The kitchen remained locked until dusk. One afternoon, Sharon tried the doorknob out of curiosity. It was bolted. "Why do you always lock the kitchen?" Sharon asked during breakfast. Dorothy smiled. "Food has spirits, my dear. If you leave it exposed, evil things can enter." That made no sense. Yet her father nodded in agreement, sipping his tea like it was the most reasonable explanation. Things escalated when the family cat, NNE, disappeared. Then 2 chickens. Then the neighbor's goat. "Maybe it's thieves," her father guessed. But the neighbors weren't so sure. "I heard strange chants last night," Mama Ejima whispered one evening. "Your stepmother was outside, facing the moon." The unease in Sharon's stomach grew. Her dreams became nightmares. She'd wake up sweating, the scent of burning herbs in her nostrils. Each night, the chanting became louder, more frantic. One evening, Sharon offered to help prepare dinner. "Let me wash the ugu," she said, picking up the leaves. Dorothy's voice turned sharp. "Put that down." Sharon flinched. "I was only trying to." "Never touch my pot again," Dorothy warned, her eyes blazing for a second before the smile returned. "Cooking is sacred in this house." Sharon dropped the leaves, heart pounding. "What's so special about the pot?" she muttered under her breath. Later that night, she heard Dorothy chanting louder than ever. Peering again from the stairs, she saw her swirling a black liquid in the pot, whispering in a language Sharon couldn't understand. Something twisted inside her. This wasn't normal. At school, Sharon confided in her closest friend, Rebecca. "I swear, Becca, she's doing something evil." "Maybe it's juju," Rebecca said, wide-eyed. "You should record her." "With what phone?" "I'm not even allowed to charge mine inside the house anymore." The next afternoon, Sharon returned early from school. The principal had dismissed students due to a planned village meeting. As she approached her compound, the silence hit her first. No humming. No pots. No Dorothy. The door was unlocked, a rare occurrence. Cautiously, she stepped inside. "Hello." No reply. Then she smelled it. That same herbal scent, thick and cloying, drifting from the kitchen. And the door, it was wide open. Her hands trembled as she stepped inside. The clay pot was on the stove, steaming. Something inside was simmering, bubbling thickly. She swallowed. "Just look," she told herself. Just one quick look. Her fingers grasped the lid slowly. Her heart pounded like a drum. She lifted the lid. The scream died in her throat. Inside the pot, floating in a dark red broth, was a human head. The skin pale and fresh. Eyes open. Mouth slightly parted. Her knees buckled. She held onto the counter, gagging. Her eyes scanned the face. She knew that face. She knew that face. "Mama," she whispered. The realization hit her like a slap. It was her mother's head. The same braided hair. The same mole above the eyebrow. Frozen in death, but unmistakably hers. She screamed. A sound so raw, it tore through the house like a banshee's wail. And then, creak. The front door slowly opened. Footsteps entered the house. "Sharon." Dorothy's voice called sweetly. "Is that you, my dear?" Sharon couldn't move. Her legs betrayed her. Her breath hitched as she stared at the door, her eyes wide with terror. The smell in the kitchen thickened. The pot continued bubbling. Dorothy's footsteps grew louder. Closer. "I brought something special from the market," Dorothy sang. "You'll love it." Sharon backed away from the stove, slowly. Her mind raced. Run. Her. Confront her. The doorknob turned. And then the kitchen door opened. The moment Dorothy stepped into the kitchen, Sharon stood paralyzed, her mouth agape, sweat trickling down her spine. Dorothy's smile froze mid-step when she saw the lifted lid and the look of horror on Sharon's face. "What are you doing?" Dorothy asked softly, closing the door behind her. But there was something in her tone, a sharpness beneath the calm. Sharon blinked, stammered, "What is that?" That's my mother's head." "You're a monster." Dorothy's eyes narrowed. "You weren't supposed to see that." Something primal kicked in. Sharon didn't wait for another word, she dashed out of the kitchen, out of the house, her legs pounding against the dirt path as she screamed. She ran to the backyard first, then changed direction to the front gate. Villagers turned at the sound of her screams, startled. "Sharon." "What is it?" cried Mama Ejima. "Please help me. Dorothy is a witch. She's cooking my mother's head." Sharon wailed. Gasps erupted. A few neighbors followed her back to the house, where she found her father just returning from the village square. "Papa," she cried, grabbing his wrapper. "I saw it. In the pot. Dorothy killed Mama." Donald stared at her like she had grown horns. "What are you saying?" "I saw it, Papa. The kitchen. Her head is in the pot. Ask her." Donald's face darkened. He turned to Dorothy, who stood calmly at the doorway. "What is she talking about?" "She's hallucinating," Dorothy said with a calm, pitying voice. "The child is traumatized. Poor thing. She's lying." Sharon screamed. "Go and look inside the kitchen." But before she could say more, Donald raised his hand and slapped her across the face. The crack echoed louder than thunder. Sharon staggered back, clutching her cheek in disbelief. "You dare accuse my wife of such filth? Your mother's spirit will weep for your wickedness," Donald barked. "Papa," Sharon whispered, her voice breaking. "You believe her over me. Go to your room. Don't let me hear such foolishness again," he shouted. Tears streamed down her face as she ran inside. Behind her, the villagers murmured in confusion. But no one followed. That night, silence hung in the house like a curse. Sharon lay curled in her bed, listening. Then she heard it, voices. "Low, urgent." She crept to her door and pressed her ear against the wood. "She saw it," Dorothy whispered. "She's only a child," Donald replied. "We'll handle it. She's curious, like her mother. If we don't initiate her soon, she will ruin everything." Sharon's breath caught. Initiate. Her mother had been curious too. And now, she was dead. Cooked. Boiled. She barely slept that night. The next morning, she sneaked into her late mother's room, now used for storage. She searched through boxes until she found a faded shoebox beneath old wrappers. Inside were photographs. Her mother, younger, smiling, then others, strange ones. Her mother standing in a group of women in red robes. At the center stood Dorothy. "What?" Sharon breathed. She took one photo and raced to the edge of the village, to the shrine of Mama Rita, the old priestess feared by many but known for truth. The old woman squinted at the photograph and hissed. I know her. Dorothy of Umona. You know her? Sharon asked, desperate. She belonged to Umwenarai, a secret cult. They feed on human flesh for power. Your mother escaped them. That's why they silenced her. And your father, he made a pact. Sharon's knees buckled. Papa knew. He may have offered you up, child, Mama Rita whispered. You must flee or die. That night, Sharon returned home shaken. But she tried to act normal. Her mind was racing. Run. Tell someone. But no one would believe her after today. When it was time for bed, she entered her room and heard a loud click. She turned. The door was locked from outside. Her heart raced. Outside, drums began. Chants. The smell of burning herbs drifted into her room again. Through a crack in the window, she saw it, her father and Dorothy, dressed in red, standing near a boiling pot in the backyard shrine. They raised their hands toward the sky. The fire blazed higher. And then she heard, it's time, bring her. Suddenly, click. Her door unlocked. By itself. And then, Sharon stood frozen in front of the open door, the chants echoing in her bones. Then, like a whisper in the wind, she heard her mother's voice, don't run, Sharon. Look behind the wall. Her heart thundered. Was she hearing things? But the voice came again, soft, comforting, unmistakably her mother's. She turned to the far wall of her room and slowly tapped along the wooden panels. One panel felt loose. With trembling fingers, she pushed. A soft click, then the wall creaked open, revealing a narrow, dusty passageway. She entered, using the faint moonlight from a crack above as her guide. At the end was an old trapdoor leading to the backyard. An escape route. Her mother had prepared it. But Sharon didn't flee. No. She was done running. The whispers, the shadows, the lies, they had taken enough. This time, she would fight back. She slipped out quietly, ran barefoot through the night until she reached Mama Rita's shrine. The priestess was waiting, as though expecting her. I found the tunnel, Sharon panted. But I can't do this alone. Mama Rita smiled. You are stronger than you know. But yes, we'll go together. You will not face evil alone. They sought the help of Fred, a reclusive hunter known for tracking spirits and cultists in the forest of Nyagbo. Armed with charms and a machete, he agreed with a nod. Tonight, the land will spit out what it has swallowed, he said. Silently, the trio returned to the house under cover of night. Sharon led them through the hidden tunnel. Inside, the chanting grew louder. Through a gap in the floorboards above, they saw the ritual, Dorothy dancing before a cauldron of flames. Inside the fire, a face appeared, Sharon's mother, eyes wide in pain. Speak, spirit. Dorothy hissed. Give me the rest of your power. Let the daughter serve, as the mother did not. Sharon's heart broke. Her mother's soul was trapped, burning. Mama Rita stepped forward from the shadows and raised her staff. Dorothy of Umona. Your time has ended. Dorothy froze. Her eyes turned pitch black. You. Old crow. You dare enter my altar. She is not alone, Fred growled, stepping into the room. Sharon stood beside them, clutching her mother's necklace. Let her go. Dorothy laughed, an inhuman, guttural sound. You came back, Sharon. Foolish girl. You were meant to join us, not fight us. The flames roared. The ground shook. Dorothy let out a shriek and began to change. Her skin bubbled, eyes glowed, and her limbs stretched. Horns tore through her scalp. A monstrous demon stood before them. Donald, who had been standing silently in the corner, collapsed to his knees. Please. Spare me. I gave you what you wanted. Don't take me too. Dorothy snarled. You offered your wife. Your neighbors. You promised your daughter. Now, pay your debt. The demon lunged at him, dragging his soul from his body. Donald screamed, eyes wide with terror as he crumbled into ash. Sharon trembled but stepped forward. Mama, I know you're in there. Help me end this. The fire paused. Her mother's voice echoed, the necklace. Into the flames. With tears running down her cheeks, Sharon clutched the necklace, her mother's last possession, and whispered, "I love you, Mama." She flung it into the fire. A flash of light exploded. The room trembled. Dorothy screamed as her demonic form writhed and burned. Spirits swirled from the flames, faces of women long lost. They circled Dorothy, chanting as she burst into ashes. Silence. Then, a gentle wind blew through the room. The spirits hovered around Sharon, smiling, peaceful. Among them, her mother. "My brave girl," she said softly. "You ended what I could not." "Mama," Sharon whispered. "Stay." But her mother shook her head. "It is done. You must leave. You broke the cycle." The spirits faded. The flames died out. Mama Rita stepped forward, placing a hand on Sharon's shoulder. "The curse is broken," she said solemnly. By dawn, the police arrived. Fred had alerted them. Donald's past crimes were uncovered, evidence buried behind the house, bones hidden in the shrine. The village would never forget. As the sun rose, Sharon walked out of the house, barefoot, smoke curling behind her. She had lost her mother twice, faced evil, and won. The chains of blood were broken. She was finally free.